Hey guys, welcome back. Now we need to start with assignment number 5 for our project, and which is related to converting the mail sending functionality using ActiveJobs. Okay, but before writing jobs or before enqueuing them or before sending emails through the ActiveJobs, first we need to take a simple walkthrough or general walkthrough about the ActiveJobs, like what are active jobs in Rails and when we need that and how, what are the basic terminologies associated with the active jobs. Okay, so active job is a framework for declaring jobs and making them run on a variety of queuing backends. Okay, so what does it mean for framework for declaring jobs? Okay, that means let's say your application run on a main thread which has to save some record into the database, and then right after saving it you need to perform, let's say, some sending some emails, or you need to convert some data to the CSV format or Excel format to be downloaded. Okay, so saving into the database is the main task of your controller action or some model callback. Okay, but immediately converting the CSV or sending the email is not the task of, it should not be the task of your main thread of the application. Rather, it should be executed into the background. Okay, and to execute such things in the background, we will use active jobs in Rails. Okay, and the variety of queuing backends means there are some backend frameworks like Sidekiq, Rescue, and DelayedJob, and that we can use to perform active jobs or to execute the active jobs in Rails. Okay, and active jobs allow you to execute complex logic or the calculations in the background that are not required immediately. As I said earlier, that for example, let's say you need to download a CSV of user data, for example, in a Rails application, or for data of any model which can be associated with some other models, and based upon that association, you need to fetch some data. So let's say if your application is in initial phase, then executing such features into the main thread of the application, I mean at the controller action or at the model callbacks or active record callbacks, that is fine. But what if your application grows bigger over the time? Okay, then it might halt the performance of your main thread, or your it might halt the potential execution of your controller actions or model callbacks. Okay, so what is better approach there, that just perform what you need to do from the controller or model callbacks, and then perform rest of the complex calculation, like for example CSV generation or calculating some data, and then prepare response for that, and then sending emails to the multiple users. Let's say if there are millions of users, then you need to run them into batches, and even the batch size is, let's say, minimal, then it is the better approach to use active jobs for that. Okay, and these are the things that are not required immediately. For example, you created a job, okay, and then you want to notify the job seeker that your this job has been created on the portal, or a job seeker applied on a job, then you have to send email to the employer and job seeker. So these are not the immediately required actions. Okay, you can just perform the database specific operations, and then you can perform those emailing things within the background. Okay, so active jobs give that facility to you. Okay, an active job provides various ways to enqueuing job both asynchronously and synchronously. Okay, so what are the synchronous jobs and asynchronous job? Okay, so asynchronously mean that you want to perform that active job or any specific active job within the background. Okay, once your application's method perform its task, then you call the active job to perform the next step or the next task within the background. And synchronously when that means that you immediately require that active job to perform its result or to perform its task. Okay, and in most of the cases, or almost all the, or in almost all the cases, we use active jobs to perform jobs asynchronously, not the synchronously. Okay, because synchronously queuing requires the immediate action. Okay, but for the immediate actions we never prefer the active jobs. However, in some cases it might be required. For example, let's say in test suite you need to perform your active jobs immediately. Okay, so in the test suite you need to use them synchronously. Okay, and in the production level you need to use them asynchronously, and it happens in most of the cases. And active jobs can be enqueued to run asynchronously using perform later and synchronously with perform now. Okay, now you can see that this perform later and perform now. So every active job or all the active jobs has at least one action, that is the perform. Okay, and that perform action contains except lot of the attribute based upon the attribute that you want to perform some calculation. So it take those attributes and then perform some results. Okay, and there are two ways to perform a job: perform later and perform now. Okay, so this might be interesting interview question for you as well. For example, if you are going for a rails interview and somebody asks you that what is the difference between perform later and perform now, okay, or what is the difference between asynchronously calling active jobs or synchronously calling active jobs, so you need to and have that idea. Okay, so perform later means you want to perform your active job within the background, not immediate. Okay, but perform now means that you want to execute the background job as soon as it calls, and you want to execute it within the foreground and synchronously. Okay, now active job supports various backends like Sidekick, Rescue, Delayed Job, and so on. So Sidekick, Rescue, and Delayed Jobs are just queuing backends. You can queue your job within these particular specific specific backends, and they will take care about your active job and they will perform it eventually. Okay, for Sidekick you need to use Redis, and for Delayed Job there is a gem delayed job, and we will use that delayed gem in our project to understand the active jobs, like how it works. Okay, and now, ActiveJobs supports automatic retrying of jobs that fail. You can define the number of retry attempts and delays between retries or customize the retry behavior. Okay, it means that let's say in production level or at any level, maybe in the development as well, your job get failed due to some reason. Let's say there is a transaction rollback, or there is some active record error, or there is any kind of error. You can set a retry limit, like let's say if this job fails, then retry this job after 5 seconds again or 5 minutes again. Okay, so you can set those retry attempts and retry duration. Retry attempts mean, let's say you can say that this job must be should be retried for at least 5 times. Okay, and after that it should not retry. Okay, so you can set those things in your active job. Okay, and job supports callback like before enqueue, around perform, after perform. Okay, to handle logic before or after a job is executed. So these are the callbacks, just like we have callbacks for models and controllers. Okay, like in the model what we have: before create, after create, around create, or before save, after save, around save. Okay, so similarly we have these callbacks available for active jobs as well. Okay, so these are very basic details about the active jobs, and these must be understandable by any developer who has to work with active jobs. Okay, and because these are the very basic terminology and you must have idea about that, otherwise you will face difficulties to create and execute your active jobs. Okay, so here we just took a general walkthrough about the active jobs, and now from the next lecture we will start setting up the active jobs along with delayed job in our application, and then we will start creating jobs and executing them, and we will try both asynchronous way and synchronous way, like I mean with perform later and perform now, just to see that what is the difference between both and how it works. Okay, so I hope you get the idea and you just have the general walkthrough about the active jobs. So just go through this lecture, and from the next lecture we will start setting up the environment for our active jobs to be executed. Okay, so thanks for watching this, and we will meet into the next lecture. Till then, tata, goodbye, take care, and stay safe.